Today we will be discussing anti-Semitic photos taken at an Orange County high school.
Followed by the controversial documentary Leaving Neverland, which discusses the sexual assault allegations against the late Michael Jackson.
And finally, we'll be bringing you the latest on some CSUF and local news. All this and more on today's episode of The Report.
Hello and welcome to The Report, Cal State Fullerton's premier source for news, views, and info. I'm Ashley Anslin.
I'm Ryan Matthey.
And I'm Leslie Duarte.
Before we get started with our first hot topic, we'd like to invite you to be a part of the discussion this semester. Click on the link in the caption of any of our report episodes to fill out a secure Google form with your opinion on any controversial issue that we've talked about now or in the past, as many of these issues are recurring and evolving. We also have a Twitter account, @TheReportCSUF, so expect polls, questions, and news updates.
Today, let's start off with some positive national news. There has been an exciting change in the pharmaceutical industry. As of Monday, March 4th, pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly will be producing a generic and cheaper version of insulin. This generic brand will cost $137 per vial, which is half the price of the name brand Humalog. Insulin is a necessary medication for diabetes, and because of the skyrocketing prices, many individuals are rationing the use of insulin to save money. This price change came after 7 executives of top pharmaceutical companies were questioned a month ago before Congress about the rising drug prices.
The Newport Mesa Unified School District initiated an investigation on Sunday after controversial photos were taken over this weekend posted on social media. The students were seen laughing over cups arranged in a swastika sign. The people in the images are believed to be current and former students from the Newport Harbor High School. The event did not happen on campus, but Superintendent Fred Navarro said that any form of hate and anti-Semitism will be condemned. A town hall meeting will be held with principals of every high school in the district, and it will be joined by a representative from the Hudbad Center of Jewish Life. The goal is to never have this type of behavior happen again in the community. What is going on here? Why are we seeing this happen in 2019?
That's a great question.
I honestly, I really believe that meme culture and making everything a joke has a lot to do with it, because in the moment, I'm sure these kids are like, this is so funny, let's just make this because this is a joke, and they don't realize how offensive that it is. But this is just a lot of other issues that we've seen where people are like, this is so funny in the moment, and then afterwards, people call them out and then they're like, I'm so sorry for my actions. But people really need to think about these things. And like I said, I think it has a lot to do with meme culture and people making everything a joke. And don't get me wrong, I'm the first person to joke about a lot of things, but I'm fully aware when things are offensive and that's not something that you just do.
Absolutely. And you would think part of me has some sort of, or I want to have some sort of sympathy for the kids because again, they are just kids and they might not know better. However, there was this LA Times article where they interviewed one of the students who goes to class with the people who are in this picture, and they said that they literally covered the Holocaust and all the repercussions from the Holocaust just last month. So it's not like they're ignorant about it and they are not aware of it. It's just they're insensitive almost, and it seems like to them it was more a joke than more of a culturally disturbing piece of work.
Right. I think it's interesting that we say this was a joke. This was some kids doing something innocent. They didn't really think about what they were thinking. But at the bottom of, at the bottom of what we're doing here is we're making it okay to joke around with the Holocaust, with Nazis, with hate. And that's wrong. I mean, these kids, their punishment, they don't deserve to be called racist or go to prison or anything like that, but they do need a lesson that you cannot joke about this. You cannot make this a lighthearted thing, because behind that there were kids, children, men, women murdered because of what they looked like and of who they were and what their beliefs were, and that is wrong. And I don't think that it's okay to just brush this under the rug and say they were just kids, they didn't know what they were doing. The representative said it best. He said that when we start making it, and let me pull up the quote right here. He said, when we start making jokes about this, we make it okay, and it's not okay to do this in our culture right now. I'm having trouble pulling up the quote, but we'll post it on our Twitter account. It was from our representative, Ruta, that one here.
Absolutely.
In 1979, the Orange County Airport was renamed the John Wayne Airport to pay tribute to one of the county's most notable presidents. After a Playboy interview from 1971 with the American icon reemerged, critics are now urging for the airport name to be reconsidered. In the interview, he said he believed in, quote, white supremacy until the blacks are educated to a point of responsibility, end quote. Anti-gay slurs and racist remarks of Native Americans were also expressed by him. That way of thinking does not reflect the community, especially since the airport is located in a racially and culturally diverse town.
A new HBO documentary called Leaving Neverland aired on Monday. It told the story of two men who have accused Michael Jackson of sexual molestation when they were as young as 10 and 7 years old.
We drive in and forget about all your problems. You were in Neverland. It was a fantasy.
The days were filled with magical childhood adventure experiences. Playing tag, watching movies, eating junk food, anything you could ever want as a child.
It's like hanging out with a friend that's more your age.
Just kid things. They were just doing kid things. He just came across as a loving, caring, kind soul. It was easy to believe that he was just that.
Out of a storybook, right? Out of a fairy tale.
Hello, Wade. Today is your birthday, so congratulations. I love you. Goodbye.
There's no thoughts of this is wrong or anything like that.
He told me if they ever found out what we were doing, he and I would go to jail for the rest of our lives.
Secrets will eat you up. You feel so alone.
I want to be able to speak the truth.
The film is about 4 hours long and shows James Jimmy Safechuck and Wade Robson telling their personal stories about their interactions with Michael Jackson as children. This documentary is stated to produce an intense image of the singer and has caused the Jackson estate to seek legal retaliation due to unrecoverable damages that could cost HBO up to $100 million. As the legal measures develop over time, it opens up the conversation about what this could mean for Michael Jackson's legacy and the two men in the film. And if you were reading or if you saw the interview that was on the Today Show with the two people who were claiming all these things, Jane Safechuck, he only met Michael Jackson when he was 10 years old at a Pepsi commercial. And then Wade Robson met him when he was only 7 at a dance competition. And for those sort of allegations to come out, that's insane, especially considering how young they are. There is the other point to it, though, where both have previously testified under oath saying that they had not had any sort of sexual conduct with Michael Jackson itself. So this is really raising the question of who do we believe? Whose side are we on?
Yeah.
And I agree with you when you brought up the point saying they did testify under oath. I want to say it was in 2005. They were under oath in court. They could have come out and said it when he had these charges brought up in 2005. Why weren't you speaking up then? And they had said that they decided to speak up now because they both have children. Okay, you had the opportunity to get this off your chest, and Michael Jackson, a profound music artist, okay? We respect him as a music artist. I do not respect him as a pedophile. And if this is what he's doing, if these things really did happen, you had the opportunity and the platform to come out and say that these things happened. Where is your credibility?
And I think now in the Me Too movement era, it's important to believe the victims. Sexual abuse happens everywhere. It happens to our artists like Michael Jackson, Harvey Weinstein. It happens to churches and the Pope. The third highest ranking Pope was just accused of raping children. So we can't really just say because he was Michael Jackson, because he was such a legend in the music industry, well, this can't be true about him. It possibly could be. It possibly could be that Michael Jackson was a creative genius and was one of the best artists and performers of our time, but it can also be that these allegations are true. And I decide to stand with the victims until something is proven otherwise.
And kind of just adding to the validity of the accusations against him, both of these people were not paid at all, or any sort of financial income was not coming from them being involved in this piece. So that's kind of adding to the point, well, if they weren't getting it for money, why else would they do this, you know?
Yeah.
Unless it's because they want to raise awareness and they want justice kind of to be served to him or to them.
And I don't know if this seems true to you guys, but with this whole process, when Michael Jackson was first accused and then found not guilty, it all just seems like there's something missing. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know who's paying who, but we have to get to the bottom of this. What really happened, and support the victims and find out what was the truth and what happened here. On February 27th, Luke Perry suffered a stroke at his Sherman Oaks home, and he remained hospitalized in observation for 5 days before his passing on the morning of March 4th. Perry's rep released a statement that said the actor had passed surrounded by his children, fiance, and other close family members and friends. His breakout role was in the Beverly Hills 90210, and his latest role was on the popular CW Riverdale show. The day that he was hospitalized coincided with a major announcement from the show that stated that they were preparing for a reboot that would include the original cast members, but Perry was not signed to return. The executive producer of the Riverdale show announced that they have temporarily halted the studio production for the show due to the actor's death, and added, quote, "We are deeply saddened to learn today about the passing of Luke Perry, a beloved member of the Riverdale, Warner Brothers, and CW family. Luke was everything you would hope he would be. He was an incredible, caring, and consummate professional with a giant heart and a true friend to all," end quote.
The Oscars are over, and Steven Spielberg took a firm stand against allowing Netflix content to be nominated for the Academy Awards. Spielberg is against Netflix, arguing that the film does not match the standard nomination criteria. This has caused an uproar in the industry, specifically for those who believe that it limits the exposure of small filmmakers. Franklin Leonard, founder of The Blacklist, opposes Spielberg's view, saying, quote, "It's possible that Steven Spielberg doesn't know how difficult it is to get movies made in the legacy system as a woman or a person of color. In his extraordinary career, he hasn't exactly produced or executive produced many films directed by them," end quote. So, me personally, I'm a big Netflix advocate, Netflix originals. I think they have a lot of great shows on there. I'm talking Stranger Things, Netflix original, House of Cards, Netflix original, Sorry Kevin Spacey, still a really good show. He's obviously cut off, but
Right.
still a really well done show. That Bird Box, that was a huge breakout for them, Netflix original. I think that people, even though they may not work as hard because it is still a small film, they still worked really hard to create all of these things. This is not just something that they did for a fun little project. Like, this is the same thing. Why can't they be just respected as such?
Absolutely. They should be kind of acknowledging the labor that goes into making this film. I want to read something that the official Netflix film account tweeted the other day saying, quote, "We love cinema. Here are a few things we also love. Access for people who can't always afford or live in towns without theaters, letting everyone, everywhere enjoy releases at the same time, and giving filmmakers more ways to share art." And they ended by saying, "These things are not mutually exclusive." So
Yeah.
speaking on filmmakers and people who want to tell stories who might not have the certain luxuries that Steven Spielberg has had, being in the industry for however many years that he has been, there has to be some sort of outlet that you're able to do this, whether it's because you are not white, because you don't come from money, is because you live in an area where film culture is not really that prominent. Netflix is that one outlet for them where they're able to make this content.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's interesting about this is that Netflix has changed the game completely. I mean, streaming just 10 years ago was never possible. And now they have original shows, original movies, and they're really good. So whatever criteria that Spielberg, with all respect in his career, and the amazing work he has done, what criteria are we talking about? These movies are just as qualified. So if it's about criteria and winning Academy Awards and awards in general, then let's change that criteria, because these are also deserving, and it's time for the new generation of streaming movies and other cinema productions to come to the platform of awards.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Well, moving on now to our next topic. Every year since 1995, presidents have declared the month of March as Women's History Month. The National Women's History Alliance even selected a theme. This year, the theme is Champions of Peace and Nonviolence. It is intended to honor women who led efforts to end war, violence, and injustice, and also for those who pioneered the use of nonviolent actions to improve society. To commemorate this special month, we here at The Report will bring you stories of incredible women every week. This week, we bring you the story of actress Monique Coleman. You may remember her from the Disney Channel movie High School Musical. Coleman is now producer and host of the docuseries Give Me More. Even more important is the fact that she is a United Nations youth champion. Coleman visited many countries to give women resources for educational purposes, as well as fighting against domestic violence. To learn more about Coleman, check out Give Me Mo.
An Oregon man is thanking rescuers and Taco Bell after he and his dog were stuck in the middle of the snow. In the middle of nowhere. Check this out, guys. The 36-year-old Jeremy Taylor and his dog Allie went missing. For the next 5 days, Taylor would turn on the car's engine to keep warm, and he ate taco sauce from Taco Bell. A snowmobile found them near Sun River, Oregon, where the county sheriff's department said they were in good condition but hungry. Okay, what's up with Taco Bell? Are they putting this on their next sauce packet? You know, Taco Bell saves lives? Come on.
I mean, it's not wrong. Like, it did save lives in this sense. It does seem like if I was gonna be stuck in the middle of nowhere for anywhere, hot sauce is the way to go.
I would put my life in Taco Bell's hands.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I think we know good life.
Definitely.
I think we know the good life when we talk about Taco Bell.
Good.
Well, on that note, that's all the time that we have here today on The Report. Have a great week, everyone, and stay tuned for more news, views, and info. I'm Ashley Gensler.
I'm Ryan Matthey.
And I'm Leslie Duarte. Stay fresh, Fullerton.